Hello and welcome back to Pacific Drive for sure the finale. I'm pretty sure we've basically done everything. We're all set to do the end of the game. In the last one, we powered up the arc device. We overcharged it basically, so that we can go into the well and with our remnant. And do we know our actual purpose for this? Release the remnant's hold on you. Yeah, that's the actual purpose of this. But that's not going to help us escape necessarily. Maybe we're not escaping. Maybe we're going to live in the zone. I don't know. We made the little Tobias thing. We got that from Francis, and we're going to take it with us. I did a lot in between episodes, like a lot. There's one thing left to make. I've made everything. I just went around, obviously grinded, just went to every zone and just kept grabbing stuff, kept scanning. There was really nothing to scan. I scanned like one anomaly, got a ton of memo things that we need to listen to, and then a remnant ghost. But I haven't made this fish tank, and I'm about to get 2 trophies? I have to install it too. DIY master. New milestone. No. This was much easier when it was like low level. Since they added so much, what is 480? Is that good? I don't know. Oh, what the? Ned, Dan, Jade? These are not normal fish. Well, we have them now. It doesn't look like I can scan them at all. I'm guessing that's just aesthetic for the garage. And now the garage is completely done. There's nothing else to do on that end. I actually did take a look at my trophies to see how close I was. I have 2 hidden trophies, which I'm sure are related to the end of the game. And this nonsense one, I tried this multiple times, and the bunny kept falling off the car, and it didn't count. I drove around for maybe like 3 hours. It never happened. I just gave up. I don't care enough. So I'm not going to worry about that. All right, before we go, though, we have quite a few things that I really want to learn about, especially with the Chiaki messages. I have a bunch of them. I don't have all of them, which sucks that we won't get to see all of them, but I also scanned a blacksmith, which this thing was terrifying. It causes like spikes to appear all over, just randomly all over the ground, and then just come up like a Undertale. I don't want to actually spoil it. Something from Undertale. Blacksmith. Thank you for taking the time to join us today, everyone. I'm well aware the military has plenty on its schedule. My assistant is passing out summary reports, but should you require more information, I have extensive in-depth data collected over several years of research on a wide variety of phenomena here on the peninsula. My specialty has been what we have broadly categorized as geological anomalies, and today I'd like to update you on what many of your soldiers have been calling the blacksmith. Within just a couple of weeks, the anomalies have already caused extensive disruption and a great deal of injury. They've demolished buildings, they've brought down transmitters, they've forced vehicles off the road. The damage done has already run into the millions, and all of us, soldiers and scientists, are acutely aware of the costs we're accruing and the equipment we're writing off. I'm hoping we can pool our experiences and best practices and save one another a lot of stress and harm. First, I'm hoping we can find a pattern to this latest anomaly, the way we sometimes have with others. Second, I'm hoping we can find a way to predict and even avoid these. Let's start by reviewing some witness statements. I would love to get some witness statements. Yeah, that thing is very destructive. That's for sure. Outside of that, I did get some resources. I finally got, obviously I got this because you require so many Olympium fragments to upgrade stuff, but I got this. It requires a magnetic hammer to actually break, and they're very rare. Like I did not see many of them. First created in 1944 alongside Americium and Curium, Olympium. It similarly remained a state secret. But while information about other transuranium? Never heard of that before. Elements was gradually made public, knowledge of the highly unstable Olympium was not. This was in part because it took some time for scientists to confirm its existence through additional testing, and then because further research on the element continued only on the Olympic Peninsula under strict ARDA supervision. The first isotype, right? Yeah, had a half-life of approximately 9 seconds, similar to hassium, and initial applications were extremely limited. It wasn't until the isotope 01266 was accidentally created by a Limtech team working for ARDA that the practical applications of a strong and relatively lightweight metal were considered. That was a long sentence. Olympium alone has limited use outside of making heavier transuranium and transactinide elements. Be looking these words up. But the possibilities of alloys using that have intrigued chemists and engineers. Since its discovery, knowledge of Olympium has remained closely guarded, and it was believed that to have only ever existed in laboratories at the University of Chicago. And on the Olympic Peninsula. However, after the events of 1961, it was occasionally discovered in small above-ground deposits within the zone. The causes of this disruption remain unexplained. Okay. There's one more thing I have to read. Wait, maybe it's not in here? Where's my remnant ghost? There it is. I had to scan my own remnant ghost to make the Lazarus device. The other day, Dr. Everett again brought up that theory he has about nothing truly being lost in the zone. You know, nothing really goes away, but is only moved somewhere else, maybe even somewhen else. If we search long and hard enough, then things won't just be found, they'll be preserved. Every object, maybe even every sound, every thought, I don't know if I feel much of my work or even my life is preserved here. So much is gone. We all lost a lot these last 3 years. Some people encourage you to be philosophical and view it as change, but I lack that wisdom or optimism. The zone and these damn experiments took so much, including you. So I'm writing you this note, and maybe it'll even find you, preserved somewhere, somehow, amongst all the other mangled moments and memories that make up this place. Maybe it will find someone else, perhaps as they find something they want. Whatever. I just need at least one person to know that I, Beverly Gates, love you, Maria Valentina Suarez, so much. And I don't care who knows it, or whether I'm supposed to love you, or how professional it is for two colleagues to make their own damn personal choices. This is an interesting one. I miss you, and I still think about you when I hear the lock turn on Lab 6, or when I smell lavender in the air, and I will preserve that love and all its moments, long after I've left this nightmare wilderness of sorrow. I liked that one. Kind of a guy going mad. Well, I mean, people, when you lose all that kind of stuff, why does it say 0 out of 98? What the? Oh, that's broken. Oh, well. We've actually heard... We have not heard part 1. I'm just going to hit play. Oh, and then we're going to...
100,000 people out of their homes
Get
without
ready.
facing major resistance. Even if you're the United States government, facing down what's being peddled as the greatest threat our nation has ever faced, the answer is, you don't. This is Frequency File, Episode 3, The Human Cost.
The whole zone?
Last episode, I reported all the cold, hard facts I could get my hands on. If you missed that episode, here's the summary. There wasn't much. Now, we jump tracks to the stories of the people, to knit together old records and eyewitness accounts to form some fabric of the true story.
Whoever's job it was at ARDA to suppress stories did a really good job. What they did to keep that sheer number of people from talking, and then to smear the stories that did come out, was a masterstroke of obfuscation. Unfortunately for ARDA, the cases that made it all the way to court became public record. And the facts were these. ARDA played nice at first with a generous relocation package. They offered cold, hard cash and built sprawling housing complexes in nearly every state to resettle the former residents. These new communities were built as idyllic, white picket-fenced neighborhoods where you were sure to be surrounded by all-American families who shared your same values, while enjoying the benefits of government-subsidized grocery stores, school districts, and manicured public parks. Not a bad deal from the looks of things. When it came to the holdouts, the people who wouldn't leave for any amount, things got ugly. But in the end, the government won out, as it always does. And while the government has the sovereign right to seize private property, the Fifth Amendment mandates just compensation be paid for it. But it doesn't specify when or how this compensation be made, and many dissenters ended up with nothing through good old loopholes and bureaucracy. Some of whom are still pursuing their claims to this day. But the chilling thing is, those left with empty pockets consider themselves lucky. There is a saying they mutter amongst themselves under their breath, that at least they had the luck to not live in Sierram.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to keep playing them as we go, and then we're just going to treat this like one road trip, because I definitely want to hear the rest of that. I think I could take a highway, but I think I'm going to take the... Ah, shit, no matter what I have to deal with, I should have re-rolled these. Oh. I want to end up at A7, A4, and then there. So, I guess we'll go E7, G9. I'll deal with... Oh, belligerent bubblegum. Swift storm. Fuel evaporation doesn't matter. I have a electric battery now. So, literally... don't use any fuel. Okay, so we're gonna take that route. Alright. There's gonna be quite a few of these to listen to, so I'm probably gonna be silent for a bit, but... Alright, part 2.
Of the witnesses to the Sierram disaster that are still alive, most aren't willing to speak to me. But one eyewitness account remains the most damning report of what happened. Meet Lou Arganza. She was 9 when she last saw her parents alive. You were born in the zone.
Yes. Born and raised in Sierram town until it wasn't a town anymore.
Lou was evacuated from the zone on February 13th, 1973. Can you share what you remember from that day?
Might as well.
Sure. I was at a week-long wilderness camp. This yearly thing my elementary school would put on. They'd throw the kids into the woods, show us how to pick apart animal droppings, sketch birds, things like that. It was my favorite thing as a kid. But that year, I really didn't want to go. Something called the Limb Fair was coming to Sierram, and I begged my dad to let me stay. He told me I could see it the following year. Well, that obviously didn't happen.
Okay. Oh no. What kind are you? You the ones that caused me to go crazy? I don't know if I want to leave these ones on my car for miles. I would love this achievement though. but I feel like I'm gonna crash hardcore if I keep driving like this. Then again, there are 3 on my car, and it's much more likely that... I think 2 of them just fell off. I think it's much more likely that I don't lose all of them if I do this. Yeah, they're damaging the car, though. You gotta do this with, like, the hopped up hair. Jesus! Haven't heard of you in a while. Yeah, I don't want to take that risk. I've tried so many times and failed after like 20 minutes that I don't want to deal with it.
The Limb Fair. Arda advertised it as a good old-fashioned small-town get-together, a miniature world fair of sorts for the hardworking government employees and their families that lived in Sierra Town. The flyers and brochures I've gotten my hands on promised all manner of things mundane and fantastical. Kiss your low-tech washing machine goodbye. Take home this limb nebulizer and zap your clothes and diapers clean. Why break your back trimming your lawn when Limb Tech can transform your grass into something more? This push to get Limb Tech into the homes of zone residents, housewives in particular, was a deliberate and strategic move.
The cynical reason, and most popular interpretation, is that it was a PR push to rehabilitate Limtech's image. By 1973, there'd been enough reports of radioactive fallout and inexplicable disappearances that
Suspicion of what Arda was doing was high. Where were you when the Sierra incident happened?
At base camp about 20 miles out of town. The sirens went off during dinner, and we barely had time to wonder whether it was a drill or real before the shockwave rolled through. Luckily, we'd been through the disaster procedure days before. We dove under our tables to take cover. We were just kids, and at first thrilled for the drama unfolding in real time. It was hours before Arda came to extract us. By that time, we'd scrambled up onto a hill to signal for help and saw the...
Take your time.
It's been 20 years, and I still can't go anywhere near a county fair of any sort.
Uh-oh.
What did they tell you had happened?
Nothing. They were all business. Hurrying us onto the trucks with boarded up windows. We weren't even allowed back in our cabins to pack our belongings. They breezed us out of the zone. It wasn't until days later, when most of us were deposited in an orphanage, that we learned that our parents died.
Yeah, Sierra was in pretty bad shape with the thing in the center. It's interesting that we're getting that little... Oh. I wish I could play it in the... It won't go off during the menu. I'll wait till we go over here. I'm a bit terrified that my engine is fatigued or failing. At least I think it was. Worn out. There's no fix for that, and I can't make an engine, which means I might have to abandon and retry at some point. This is new? Oh no, environmental distortions in this zone mean that all car battery usage will be much higher just in general? I need to get out of here right away, because that's my engine.
Lou's
Right, let's play
account
that.
is one of the most damning and holds up to the best of my verification efforts. She's told that story many times and hadn't changed this story in the ensuing years. Chalk it up to good memory or deeply seated trauma, but it is, as far as I can tell, real. The stories from others, however, inspire a healthy dose of skepticism. Those who weren't too scared of government retaliation were few. And the ones who shared their stories loved their 15 minutes of fame a little too much. Any talk show or gossip rag or cheap date willing to listen heard from these types and made piecing together the zone's true history for someone like me, decades later, a migraine-inducing experience. Because
That's fair.
these stories, as every good gossip knows, morphed over time. What started as the most powerful lightning storms recorded on Earth turned into UFOs touching down. An innocent spiderweb became something to be avoided on pain of death. A grassy lawn, left untended, became a feeding ground for something called burp bunnies. The tales became taller as the years went by, and the more I heard, the more my suspension of disbelief left me. And while the CRM disaster was only one of the many incidents that occurred over the zone's 32-year history, it is the one I return to as a prime example. Whatever happened there in CRM is the type of disaster that caused the creation of the exclusion zone in the first place. We can extrapolate from what little we know of what happened here. If this is the one story to get out, how many more horrors did Lim technology cause?
Continue.
Finally, back to the question of Ophelia Turner. The fact is, most of the people I spoke to didn't know her. How is it that the supposed inventor of Lim technology herself, who ostensibly led the ARDA R&D project, wasn't known across the board?
It's almost as if the American public knew her more than the people who worked and lived in the zone, thanks to the PR machine. But how does that all balance out? The best I could get were vague acknowledgments, mainly from scientists. Mind you, this lot was also the most tight-lipped, but those who showed a hint of recollection spoke of her as if she were an urban legend herself.
I mean, I heard her name from time to time. Never saw her once, though.
I don't remember an Ophelia. Oh, but there was an Alan Turner who was heavily involved in Lim R&D. Not a lot of women in the labs. I would have noticed one for sure.
Huh.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Wait, why? What? Keep this going. Will you continue on that? I might have to go find the rest of these files. Well, that's a lot of files left, but is something I'm actually really interested in.
Feels like poking around the edges of a void. When I look directly at my subject, nothing appears to be there. But as I tease around the edges, a shape begins to emerge in the null space. It is with great journalistic integrity that I began to define those edges. But even then, it's tempting to fill in the spaces with good old-fashioned imagination.
But hey, I knew what I was signing up for when I decided to unearth a decades-old mystery. Welcome back.
This is episode 4 of Frequency File. In lieu of no one having a personal account of Ophelia Turner, we turn to more facts in the periphery. In this episode, I dig into ARDA, the government agency behind the research and development of Lim technology, as well as the scant facts of Lim technology itself. Bear with me as we depart the shores of known, connected facts and slingshot from one theory to another. By now, you're probably starting to gather what the problem was with the very concept of Lim technology. The rumors about Lim were healthy and far-reaching, that it could solve world hunger and overpopulation, that it had alchemical powers to convert matter from one form to another, or would finally plug the technological gap needed to realize the long-dreamed-of perpetual energy machines. Even for the scientifically disinclined like myself, it's easy to conclude that no one technology could fulfill all of mankind's wildest fantasies. And yet, here was Lim technology, promising all those things in one swoop. And remember, any and all actual scientific detail about Lim technology was kept absolutely airtight. Every schematic, lab note, and mathematical proof that was allegedly smuggled out of the zone or recreated from memory was dissected by experts around the world. All were found to be well outside the realm of reality. And those scattered claims of rogue Lim technology out in the world, they were all red herrings, nothing proven.
Oh, that is the end of that one. I might as well charge my battery before we head out. Maybe after we beat it, I just go and grab the rest of the radio. I don't know where they are. That's the problem. They're not on the map or anything, so it's really hard to. They're not on like the main map, but I don't know. maybe after I finish, I'll just look up, like, is there a way to find them, or do I really just have to go out to a junction and pray there's a radio there? Okay, this one's gonna suck. But I want to go through it to get to A7. Okay. Bam.
So, what do all those rumors about limb technology leave us with? The most popular theory by far was that limb technology never existed. An elaborate yarn spun by opportunists to siphon government funds into their pockets. The demonstration from Dr. Ophelia Turner and President Koch was well within the ability of an amateur magician. And once again, Dr. Turner's lack of accomplishments in her academic career paint an easy portrait of a scientist eager for a win. That would slot Dr. Turner firmly in the myth camp. We may never be able to agree on what limb was, or if it even existed. But we can certainly understand why its existence was necessary.
Good.
The state of the world that existed needed to believe in something so fantastical. Here's my submission to the ever-growing theory pile. It is no coincidence that the year the zone was established was 1955. That year also marked the start of the space race. For that next decade, there is no hotter topic, no singular focus of effort and funding than beating the Soviets. With Sputnik's launch in 1957, followed by Gagarin's first brush with space in 1961, America fell behind with every passing year. Its desperation only increased with the very public explosion of Project Vanguard, America's first satellite launch attempt. And then, to go from not being able to get off the launch pad
To 6 years later, being the first to land a man on the moon? That is a whole lot of technological progress to make from losing position. The timing of limb technology couldn't have been
more perfect. The government springs into action, promoting limb while being simultaneously effusive and evasive, an American political specialty. The live demonstrations are few, the vagaries plenty, but there is a notable wave of professors vacating their spots at major universities to take on positions at ARDA. Some interesting fields of study from the bunch. Experts in crop domestication, enclosed biological ecosystems, and radiobiology. What sounds like a child's tale begins to take on a shape that fits cleanly with the race to the stars. I will reiterate here, this is only my theory, but I dare say it's a good one.
Considering Oppie is Ophelia Turner, some of this, I think we probably might have needed to get earlier to. Oh, I'm gonna repair that headlight for sure. What happened to you? Are you broken? Okay, you need an electrician kit. Yeah, that. Bam. Put these back. I'm gonna start the next one. Bam.
The problem we've come to understand is that something went so horribly wrong inside the zone's borders and caused all of it, limb,
disasters, and the rest, to be hermetically sealed off forever. As dubious as the fuzzy photos and inconsistent stories were, they add up to one thing.
I don't even need that.
What was going on in the zone wasn't normal. For as tall as Arda built those walls, they couldn't hide oddly colored auroras in the sky, or ice storms in the summer, or localized hurricane-force winds compacted into tight columns. There were two words that popped up time and time again within these eyewitness stories: instability and anomalies. I've been able to distill a few things about them, that they were two of the many, many unfortunate byproducts of the R&D going on in the zone. The government was forced to admit to elevated levels of radiation. Pretty hard to cover that one up, as it became a tourist attraction to hike along the walls with a Geiger counter. But this instability seemed to be some combination of ecological and physical fallout. Some described it as a state of constant landslides. Others recounted storms unlike anything seen on planet Earth. As far as what the anomalies were, I couldn't tell you. I ran face first into two distinct responses to that question. Either people refused to say a single word about them, or people had too many conflicting explanations to find a single thread of commonality. Perhaps that's a topic for a series all on its own. Roblox at every turn with this story.
Imagine trying to write that story while you're being attacked by bubblegums and whatever the other thing is. I already forgot the name of it. Abductor? That's not a normal abductor, right? Oh, okay. A7. Okay, something is going on with the right side, that's for sure. But where are we? Oh, we're east. Explosions are terrible. I also need repair. They're plentiful and have a score to settle, apparently. 5.
This is Frequency File, Episode 5. At this point in my investigation, the unanswered questions kept piling up. The depths I was having to go to, the mysteries upon mysteries, was making me dizzy. Many times, my hope dwindled. Was I getting anywhere with this? Or were the rumors sweeping me completely off track?
Wait, why do I have 2? Wait, that was your whole thing? Really?
One night, in a fit of desperation, I opened my reader mail and found the motivation to continue. And I thought, you're walking this same journey with me. And maybe you share some of my frustrations about all the non-answers. So indulge me this one episode as I lighten the mood and talk about the response to my work. A quick behind the scenes on the making of Frequency File. It was quite the uphill battle to make it to air. Only by virtue of my good work investigating the case of the disappearing banana slugs was this entire series allowed to happen.
And I was made aware in no uncertain terms that I used up the entirety of my good karma on making this. But the calls and letters from you, the listeners, have managed to overwhelm the network, and thus have justified my obsession-turned-legit investigation. So, as thanks, this episode is all about you. Your theories, your hopes and dreams, your love and hate, your opinions. I've sifted through the hundreds of letters and calls, and here's a selection of the sentiment you've shared.
Oh, yeah, right. That was going to be the end of that one. Let's hear it.
I've listened to every one of your episodes, and I did my own research. And I have to say, there is no chance in hell that Ophelia Turner invented limb technology. She was 100% a convenient excuse. I mean, for starters, she's a woman. As an American, who would you rather rally around? Some dweeb scientist squinting at a test tube? Or a woman in a lab coat posing for pretty pictures? Admit it, we were duped by the government. Again.
All right.
When will we learn?
Caller 1, your time's up.
You're wrong about one thing, huh? Some limb technology did make it out into the larger world. Oh, you remember the personal cassette players that were all the rage in 1979? Yeah. That thing we all begged our parents for Christmas? Slim tech, baby. Go on. Open it up. Tell me if you don't see some limb doohickeys in there, huh? I dare you.
What I don't understand is how they could let all those zone people back out into the world. Like, they lived there, were experimented on, and got exposed to Lord knows what. And they just rolled out the red carpet for them and let them loose. Oh, that's just completely irresponsible.
What the?
My neighbor, they were one of them. And let me tell you, nothing good came from it. The minute they moved in, things got screwy. You ever hear of an ice storm in Tampa? Well, heck, in Florida, anywhere. No. But they move in, and suddenly we get freak ice storms and armies of six-legged possums overrunning the neighborhood. Well, I can't sleep a single night without hearing their grubby little hands, so many little hands going through my trash bins. My husband tried to fight them off and got bitten. and he ain't been right since. I tell you, they're out there, and it's already too late.
Interesting. So wait, when you leave the zone, it sticks with you? The anomalies, I guess? Wait, how? Hey, Storms.
Hello. I haven't been able to sleep since I first started listening to Frequency File. I've been putting the clues together, and I honestly think my grandparents are Alan and Ophelia Turner.
Wow.
They never like talking about their past, but sometimes I'll sneak up to the attic and find photos of them in these weird lab outfits. And what's more, sometimes when they talk in their sleep, they speak another language. I bet it's Russian. You have to check it out.
And the most surprising of the messages.
Don't keep poking your nose around where it doesn't belong. You're not gonna like where you end up. Trust me, I should know.
He identifies himself as Ed Baker, an astronaut on the American spaceflight missions.
Now this isn't a threat. It's just a warning. I went up with the third landing mission. All was well. Readings were nominal. We achieved stable orbit around the moon and began executing the limb-assisted landing procedure. Once it activated, that's when everything went wrong. I wish I could tell you what I saw. I wish I could put it into words. But most of all, I wish I could forget. I don't even look up at the sky anymore. Every night is a terror. Limb technology was a mistake. It wasn't worth it. Yes, we won the race, but the cost was too great. It will always be there, waiting for our next mistake.
Okay, well, maybe that didn't do quite the job of lightening the mood, but knowing that
There's so many of you along for the ride with me gives me the determination to continue on, no matter how deep this rabbit hole goes. So thank you, and I'll see you next episode.
Got some crazy listeners. But if that guy was telling the truth, as an astronaut who used limb-assisted technology on the moon, that's nowhere near the zone. Was he in the zone before that? Do I want to... Wait, I don't even know if A1 here... Oh, it does connect. I can go to A4. Battery sapping? Hell no. We're going to eerie darkness over that. Okay. There's only two here, and I don't even know if these are probably more frequency file episodes, but... Oh yeah, there's also these to read, which I can do after. I don't know if we're gonna... Maybe I just, like, look up the rest of them when we listen to them? I don't know. We'll see, but...
Hello? This is a message for Chiaki Saruhashi. We have some documents that may be of interest to you. They'll be dropped at the... It's gonna be the Seattle Public Library Central District Branch at 11:59 p.m.
Sorry, who is this?
Consider it a present from the Breachers.
Ooh.
This is Frequency File, Episode 6.
Are you leaking?
Listeners, I am ashamed to admit the difficulty
I had at this point in my investigation. I was out of leads, shamelessly mired in rumors and dead ends, and pretty darn stressed about what to do next. So this phone call offers me a lead on a cold, stormy night, And in all my posturing about journalistic integrity and triple-checking the evidence, I am amused to say that this is the sketchiest source I've come across in my career. And yet, it led me somewhere.
I need to hear it. I need to hear it. Hup.
I get this call on a Friday night, and I only have enough time to hop in a cab to make the drop. Waiting for me next to the library's book return are 3 filing boxes stuffed with moldy documents. They are in poor shape. I tip the cab driver extra after the bottom of a box disintegrates all over his trunk. Clearly these records were not well taken care of. I wonder if this is more of a decluttering of a long-lost basement rather than an illicit sharing of secrets. And yet in the soggy pages I do find proof of Ophelia Turner's position. A series of organization charts of the LIM Research Project spanning the first 10 years of R&D. In the earliest version of the chart, she's positioned at the top level with the title of Lab Director. The subsequent charts show a rapid expansion of the project, with hundreds of names being added, as well as a good deal of shuffling. Dr. Turner's job title changes every 2 years, and a quick visual comparison shows that she is quickly and literally being shoved off into her own corner. The years that this is seen happening correlate to the downturn in her PR appearances. Another name appears briefly on the organization chart. You guessed it, Alan Turner. A quick search in the county office shows that he's Ophelia's husband. Married at 22, no children on record, died in 1961. The cause of death is unlisted, which means only one thing. The government scrubbed it from the record. Okay, so not only did
Ophelia Turner exist, she was one of the highest-ranking members on the LIM Research Project. And she was intimately involved with these so-called anomalies. Did she create them? Did she dissect them? Did she unleash them onto her homeland like some sort of mad scientist? Did I need to stop drinking coffee after 8 p.m. in my desperate bid to meet my deadlines for this series? Lots of questions I couldn't possibly know the answers to.
Huh. Oh shit, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I don't even have a backup here. Oh no.
One good lead follows another, and soon I get another phone call. More on the next episode of Frequency File.
We haven't heard the name Richard in game, have we?
You did good. We can meet.
This is Frequency File, Episode 7. Apparently, I passed some sort of test with my impromptu retrieval of moldy documents. I was rewarded with a connection to Richard Phillips, a man who claimed to not only have worked in the zone, but stayed there years after its closure.
Okay.
We meet at a cafe in downtown Seattle.
The zone, in its active research and development phase, doesn't look too dissimilar to these photos you've got there. By now it's been, 20 years abandoned, but being hermetically sealed in with 70 petabecquerels of radiation's got its benefits. When the withdrawal orders came through, everything was left as is. You know, except for the ones who didn't leave, like me.
Why did you stay?
See, that was always the question, wasn't it? Well, at our own reasons. Some of the scientists in particular like to claim legitimate reasons for staying behind. But we were, we were all misguided. We all had something we were running from.
How long were you there?
I want to say about 6 years after the decommission was complete.
But if ARDA withdrew all operations, how did you survive? Like, what did you eat? How did you get the supplies you needed?
Some zone secrets are best left secret. You don't want to know. And it wasn't pretty, the things you had to do to survive.
Ooh.
But it was quiet. Blissfully,
No.
peacefully quiet.
Okay. Last one.
No, I want all the dirty secrets. What you ate, how your plumbing worked, what social activities there were.
Social activities? No one went in there to have a good time, I'll tell you that. There was plenty of chatter across the radio at first, but that died down pretty quickly. Not too much to gossip about after being shut in for... I don't even know how many years at that point.
Radio? Like a ham radio?
Yeah, but worlds more sophisticated. Some property of radio waves made it the only consistent method of transmission. So it was our prime method of communication. People started up their own radio stations, made their own programming. Didn't matter who was listening. It was the human need to talk that we were fulfilling.
Okay, but give me a little hint. You weren't completely deprived of supplies, right?
Oh, easy. That's where the breachers came in.
On the next episode of Frequency File, more about the breachers and what they thought of our topic at hand. Dr. Ophelia Turner.
What? Wait, people like us were bringing in food and being sacrificed. Well, not sacrificed, but they would just die in here, I would assume. I really want to hear the rest of it, but we're about to head into the well now. I think, unless this isn't the well. Part of me thinks that the well is right here, and it's like you have to go through here to get there. But I have no idea. Should I... God, why couldn't I find the rest? There were 8 more, and I just couldn't... The radios just never popped up. Were there anything... Okay, so we already read most of these. What was this? I'm never saying this because people will say it was whales or dolphins or something, but it isn't like that. This thing is like a kind of submarine. Sleek, thin, this dull blue, light blue color that blends in with the water. It looks metallic, but it bends like a worm. It used to stalk us out there, bumping the hull over and over, and then one night I saw it turn west, just under the water, barely disturbing the surface, and it shot away, fast as a torpedo. It's out there somewhere, at sea. Right, these are the anomalies that we don't actually get to see, I assume. This menu's still broken. Anomaly study. Is this all one thing? Well, we've clearly read a few of these, but what is this? One of the earliest consistently reported anomalies, this mimicked many artificial noises made in its presence, a tiny burrowing bottle-shaped anomaly. This would surface and imitate engine noises, radiostatic, or in particular sirens. Oh. Studying these was difficult, as those that approaching them suffered immediate nausea and dizziness. Sightings dropped to 0 soon after the first crawlers manifested. Okay, these are also things that we don't see. These are from the past. So I definitely want to... Yeah, I'm just wondering if I need to read things in order, am I missing some or something, but like these ones don't need to be read in order. While this anomaly cannot strictly be described as humanoid, it has nevertheless gained the moniker Hat Man, and a slew of distant sightings describe a first impression of a tall person in a hat and a coat. Sightings are consistent with their description of a tall, thin shape moving at or just above ground level, with a broad, low hat-like top above an almost cone-like tapering lower structure. That would be creepy. Thank God that's not in the game. This can give the impression of a wide-shouldered figure. No sightings of this anomaly have occurred since June 64. However, at this time, many Zone personnel began to report extremely consistent dreams of something similar entering their homes. Uh-oh. All right. Cited consistently between 1959 and 61, this anomaly was attracted to any transmitters broadcasting at particular shortwave bands. It was attracted to transmitters. Okay. About the size of a bird, roughly spherical, chrome-like, and able to fly through unknown means, this anomaly would latch itself to broadcast antennae and begin to dissolve, or perhaps consume the metal. Stubborn and difficult to dislodge, this anomaly began to disappear when zone personnel began using different frequencies. Huh. Interesting. These long, thin ice-like anomalies were found in clusters on trees and overhangs throughout the early 70s, responsible for the majority of anomaly-related injuries at the time. They would cause serious contact burns and were easily dislodged by wind or movement. They were present during all types of weather, and if disturbed or manipulated, would quickly dissolve away into nothingness. None have been reported since 75. Okay. Theories. I think that these are also, like, I'm free to read this one, right? There's not, like, this isn't a full story. I think it's one guy doing random theories, though. Yeah, I remember the shower thoughts. 1 and 4 are new, though. I have it all figured out. Anomalies are like forces of nature. They're dumb things that happen, but without intelligence. Like, is the wind planning anything when it blows at you? No, it's just the wind. Same for the rain. Sure, it's a part of a complex meteorological system, but that doesn't mean it has a brain. Not convinced? Fine, because I have proof that the anomalies are like weather, and just like the weather, they're manufactured and controlled by government installations hidden in the mountains. Those fake hollow mountains, hollowed out by the cowmen. Sent by JK. Are you also JK? No. Take a good long look at that zone. All those botanists, biologists, chemists, Arda is using our backyard as a testbed for terraforming. They're reshaping our planet right under our noses. They're changing the oxygen content of the air. They're training giant electric moles to magnetize the soil. They got robot dogs, and everyone who lives in there gets to enjoy it first. The rest of us dumbos don't know what's coming, and one day, when they pull that lever, they'll change this planet, this whole planet. But I'm ready for anything. I know how to protect myself. Mayonnaise. I like that one. Yeah, bad vibes. I remember reading that one. Okay. We have all the lab reports. I didn't actually think about that. We've only read one of these, and I don't remember it. Initial trials on the remote battery charger have been extremely encouraging. As predicted, the key mitigating factor is distance. We can only charge in close proximity. Our success here, though limited, does suggest a future in which we can make plugs and connectors obsolete. But for now, the devices we charge still need to be nearby. In the short term, we can find applications for roll-on, roll-off battery recharging in vehicles, anything from cars to light aircraft. Mass proximity charging for handheld devices like radios, and make greater use of larger examples of field portable equipment. However, our ultimate goal still remains to remotely charge a device as far as our line of sight. Damn. Well. A car with a flat battery down the road. A cordless power tool half a mile away. Imagine that. That would be amazing. Doesn't sound possible, though. It appears that a combination of correct conductive materials, limb-enhanced electromagnetic induction, and a bombardment of electrons can substantially accelerate radioactive decay. So far, the figure suggests that we can now accelerate the decay of U-235 by as much as 8%, while 222 is accelerated by as much as 12%. We remain cautiously optimistic, but I don't think it's unrealistic to expect to reach values as high as 20%, which is enormous implications for the future treatment of nuclear waste. Oh, okay. So using electromagnetic and conductive materials to, like, just dispose of it quickly. I mean, that's clearly what it's saying. My brain wasn't wrapping it around when I was saying it. Not to mention what we can do to mitigate the changes we're experiencing in the zone. I'm delighted to report that radioactive shielding has been a runaway success. We barely had trace readings inside the landing module. the command module, and the cargo module. We can now confirm that we have created the most radiation-resistant material humanity has ever known. We've shipped the last of the panels and materials back to Arda Engineering for further analysis, but I see no reason they can't be used again on the next mission. The degradation is minimum. I'm excited to show you all the full analysis in person. Meet you in the Arda cafeteria on Thursday. This is the real deal. This is how we truly make money from limb technology. Forget the physics. Forget the engineering. It's the chemistry. What we've got here is a secret weapon to a host of new, more efficient catalysts. See, petroleum refining is dependent on a variety of catalysts, right? But there are boatloads of applications in everything, from pharmaceuticals to biocatalysts. They are the secret ingredient in so many modern industrial processes, and we have the key to lowering their activation energy to ludicrously low levels. Imagine how the chemical and petroleum companies would pay for this. And if Arda won't sell, then we should really... Wait, we shouldn't be talking about this here. No, you shouldn't. This is a lab report. I need your help. I read through the data. Look at the numbers. I've checked every equation, every result. The batteries were consistent, the quality of materials were pure, and yet nothing on paper could really truly explain the disparity in the results. The fact is, the materials in Chamber A were exposed for longer than those in Chamber B, despite the experiment running for the exact same amount of time. Please, I beg you, I'm at my wit's end. Help me find an explanation. And hurry, we've already deployed a dozen setups like this. They're already running out in the field. I fear if we don't get ahead of this, it's going to be bad. The disparity in the results of... For... Oh, right, their remote battery charger. I'd have to sit and think about that one. I don't know what this is. Zone Motors and you? Did you know that waxing your car isn't just about making it shinier? A good coat of wax is essential in the zone because it helps protect against abrasion, discoloration, chemical exposure, and has been proven to reduce the effects of radiation by up to 3%. First, make sure you've given your car a thorough wash and that it's completely dried. Next, apply modest amounts of wax to the pad or cloth you're using and wax your car one area at a time. The longer the wax dries for, the harder it is to remove, so be sure to begin removing recent wax with a thin cloth before you move on to the next part of the vehicle. Why is this even here? That seems pointless. Okay, I really am interested in these. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find anything. Okay. So, I found a video that had 8 and 9 on it. Apparently, there is no 10, or there is a 10, and it's not just no one's uploaded it. But credit to whoever this is, Cryptocat, for this. I'm just here to watch it because I don't want to look around for them at the moment. So, it might be a little loud. Hold on. I like their editing.
The Breachers. It was a network of people, including those who claimed to have infiltrated the zone, and the people on the inside that enabled them. Where there's an iron-fisted ruling authority, there's always a resistance. And as wonderfully weird as everything we've heard about the zone has been so far, these Breachers honestly take the cake. This is Frequency File, Episode 8. Infiltrating the Olympic exclusion zone is a whole lot of work. To start, you'd have to get through, past, or over a 300-meter outer wall. There were layers upon layers of security checkpoints, and the zone was carved out into sectors, each with very specific clearance requirements. If you were somehow able to make it through all of that, then you'd start dealing with the rampant radiation and a whole host of other dangers. So imagine my surprise to hear that there were people who made a whole career out of wall breaching.
Yeah, I lived in the zone for 10 years. My partner worked for Arda, and I came along for the ride. After a while, I got bored and thought, hey, Why not put my years of experience smuggling contraband to good use?
This is Carolyn Murrell. Not her real name, of course, as she was the ringleader of an illicit smuggling ring. If you needed a pack of your favorite brand of smokes from the outside or a souvenir from the inside, Carolyn was your gal.
I mean, yeah, by all measures, it was an easy life on the inside. Arda took care of most everything. Groceries to your door, free housing. Salary was good. You didn't have much to use it on, but at least you know you'd be set with savings and pension when you eventually went back into the real world.
So you didn't run the smuggling ring for money?
No. Because honestly, once you get used to the anomalies and instability that comes sweeping through, the hardest thing to fight was boredom. I mean, that was constant and never ending. Every day was very much the same. Wake up, check the weather and stability reports, boil water and wish you had coffee, wait for your partner to come home, then sit around and repeat the same conversations night after night.
So the smuggling kept things interesting. What were the most common things requested?
All people inside wanted was coffee, cigarettes, and vodka. All the good vices. But what outside people wanted was the interesting stuff. Anything anti-gravity was popular, and the occasional ask for a live anomaly. We didn't take those requests seriously. These usually came from tourists who were rich and desperate to prove that they'd actually been inside the zone to their rich friends.
Outside, as in bring back.
You're saying there was zone tourism?
Oh, yeah. And not the solo breacher variety either. Like sanctioned, scheduled itinerary type tours.
How was that possible? All I've heard is how strict Arda's security was.
Well, it's true. Arda had eyes everywhere. But even they couldn't secure the entire border. Not with the instability wreaking havoc on everything. Especially when Arda's funding began to wind down. They eased up on security, so it got easier in the later years.
Carolyn was generous enough to connect me to Ellison Nagata, who claims to have operated the tours in question.
How much did it cost to tour the zone?
Wouldn't you like to know? Let's just say I was able to retire in my early 40s.
Okay, then how did you manage to sneak tour groups in without Arda noticing?
Logistics? Logistics. All right. Let me tell you what your listeners will really want to hear. The tour packages. By far the most popular, the Anomaly Safari. We'd load tourists up in a transport vehicle and follow any route available to us and see what had come out of the woodwork. And let me tell you, it never disappointed. You ever see a 100-foot tall tree walk? One crossed the road right in front of us. I had a few repeat customers. One couple commissioned a private tour to see the old wall. Dangled a real big tip for me if I got them all the way through and into the deep zone. But it turns out I value my life way more than finding a way through that insanity.
And when it came to the topic of Dr. Ophelia Turner, amazingly, the Breachers all knew of her and had the most consistently positive opinions of her.
Never met the woman, but she was a regular and one of my best customers. She paid in advance, ordered consistently, and never made a fuss. She's the sharpest broad I've ever come in contact with. I have no doubts that she did exactly what all the legends claimed.
Oppie? Oh, she was not a fan of my work. Gave my tour quite a thrill when she stopped our van and nearly threw us all out into the radiation to die. Oh, you should have seen her face, though, when the tourists realized that she was the Dr. Ophelia Turner of legend. Oh, yeah, she was the biggest celebrity when it came to the zone, and everyone wanted a picture with her.
Sounds like Tobias.
On some of her seminars. There wasn't a thing about Lim that she didn't know. She was one of a kind.
So what do you think? Was she a martyr, a myth, or a monster?
Not a myth. She was a real deal.
Martyr, whatever that woman did, she did for the greater good.
The way she tried to sabotage my business? You'd think I'd call her a monster, but she was a lioness, defending her territory. I didn't bring people into the zone because it was the right thing to do, and I knew it. So yeah, I guess of the three, martyr? She knew how bad things were getting, but she stuck it out anyway. She went down with that ship. I can only respect her for that.
There are 2 parts to this, according to my
We've reached
menu.
Frequency File Episode 9, the final episode. Okay, I'll be the first to admit, what started as a magnifying glass on this whole Dr. Ophelia Turner and the Limb Project went off the deep end here. I left the shores of the topic long ago. I assure you that under normal standards, my reporting is laser focused on my target. But I've never run into topics foggier than the Olympic exclusion zone, limb technology, and Dr. Ophelia Turner. Through this journey, I've tried to chart something of a path through this maze. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether I've succeeded or not. But in my defense, and in tribute to the many, many theories surrounding our topics at hand, here is one last hypothesis. It's the Olympic exclusion zone itself that invites this line of thinking. The delight in rumor, the eager detour onto unmarked side roads, the plunge into fiction over fact. Think about it. First off, this wasn't a personal endeavor. I don't know anyone who lived in or worked in the zone or was relocated from it. I live in Seattle, which admittedly is close enough to see the mountains on the peninsula, but there's never anything out of place when I look out my window. But once I heard the stories about the zone, I couldn't get them out of my mind. Every night, I couldn't help but imagine what it was like to stand on your front porch and watch something called an instability front sweep through and replace your front lawn with a rushing river. To be commuting to work, only to have your way blocked by a rampaging Sasquatch. To hear your neighbors gossip through whatever errant radio broadcasts your antenna happens to pick up for the day. Maybe that's nowhere close to what life was like in there. But those are the images they conjure for me, and they are impossible to shake. I am not alone. They have a term for this obsession. The affected. I have unknowingly fallen into the trap, seduced by the rumors and legends of the zone. I sleep on a bed littered with grainy zone photos. I take my daily runs with the Arda broadcasts on repeat in my ear. I squint at incoming rainstorms and wonder if they'll bring a little instability with them. I know I have traded fact for fiction. And on pain of my credibility as a journalist, I am happier for it. A wise man once said, "I want to believe." When we face such a vacuum of information, where the scant details we can glean are more fantastical than the last, our imagination expands to fill the gaps. But that's the romance of it, isn't it? Our generation likes to say that we were born too late to explore the Earth and too early to explore the galaxy. So we reach toward local mysteries, the ones nearby enough to be accessible, yet the more otherworldly, the better, to satisfy our latent explorer's lust. The Olympic Peninsula, within a couple hours' drive, is too enticing not to dream about. So when it comes to the issue of the Olympic exclusion zone, the mystique of limb technology, and the conundrum of Dr. Ophelia Turner, here's what I know. The Olympic exclusion zone is a real thing. We can still see it, those monolithic walls sealing its secrets inside like a tomb. Real people lived there, worked there, and we suspect are in there still. Even if we will never know everything that happened on the inside, we know much happened, and it was dangerous. It is a place that no one in their right mind should, and ever will, tread again. Limb technology, on the other hand, is still an open question, leaning more fiction than fact.
I feel like this is something you probably would only find after you beat the game, or this would play automatically.
It was, for sure, a bona fide new type of technology. It had its basis in reality, but they followed the recipe of the best science fiction and futurism. Take a familiar, grounded, easily understandable concept like radio waves, mix in a heaping scoop of technological mumbo-jumbo, and top it off with a generous heaping leap in logic. It is that last critical step that lends the most disbelief to the entire story. But that same step is the one all scientists hang their hats on. The desired outcome of their hopes and dreams, the destination of their fevered derivations. It's tempting to believe that those technological quantum leaps are well within our grasp. But for every one that comes true, hundreds more remain fairy tales. And so while I can't verify one way or another, my belief is that limb technology never did many of the things it was purported to do. If it had, we should have seen some fruit of those labors. Lastly, Dr. Ophelia Turner. Martyr, myth, or monster. In the end, it's not for me to judge. We each get to make that call for ourselves. And if this seems like an unsatisfying conclusion to you, think of it this way. She was no more than a blip in history, a footnote in an annotation somewhere. She was a woman who lived an entire life bearing not just the burden of public opinion on her shoulders, but if you believe the full story, the destruction of her homeland and the failure of a nation's best efforts on her soul. Stamping her with a label is the easy way out. It's an oversimplification of a complex life, a disservice to a woman who suffered the judgment of an entire country that needed her at a very specific moment in history. Whoever Dr. Ophelia Turner was, whatever she did, and wherever she is now, I say, I hope you have no regrets. I hope you're at peace with everything that you sacrificed. And I hope you had someone who understood you and loved every version of yourself.
Ooh. Nope. Bonus. There is another one? Wait. Part of me thinks that these are like, hold on, let me see.
You're listening to Frequency File. I'm Chiaki Saruhashi, and I signed off last episode. The story was done.
I feel like you can only get this after. Just the way it's set up. Part of me wants to listen to this after, just in case. Either way, I'm still gonna like that. Part of me just wants to wait to listen to it. I mean, yeah, those are definitely very interesting, and I'm a little sad I couldn't get that. So this is a bonus one, episode 10, then. But I really think, based on the way that last one happened, that we probably couldn't find it until we were in the final area or in post-game. That would be my thought. Just the way she was talking, like the way she was signing off, it almost sounded like something that you'd hear during credits, you know? So whatever this is, I'm assuming you'd find it after. If anything. So I'm just going to ignore it for now. We're gonna watch it after we finish. Even if it wasn't, it's still fine. We've heard most of it, and it was really interesting. I really enjoyed that entire podcast, essentially. All right, let's go. Oh shit, that loaded fast. Oh, this isn't exactly small. Are we just cruising into the end? Wait, did I say isn't exactly big? Blah.
This is really it, huh? The end of the road. Soon we'll finally see for ourselves what caused the mass hallucination.
Shit.
And what Tobias and Alan died for.
We will.
It was all worth it.
Well. Assuming the car makes it that far. That's not good. Both my side batteries are broken. I did kind of use them a lot, though. Ooh, oh man. That looks like hell? It's like some sort of summoning
These
ritual.
readings, are they real? I can't even begin to guess what could be outputting this much radiation.
Some sort of energy reservoir, a massive fission reaction, or
a portal.
Atlantis.
Aw.
If this thing really leads us to Atlantis, I'm turning in my PhD.
God, if only Tobias were here to see it.
I would have liked to hear his take on all of this. For once.
He is here. He's right here. Wait, what? Oh, I need to put you away. This car is so screwed.
All right, driver. You're almost to the threshold. Remember, Francis and I have got your back. Once you get that car to the well, we'll keep the gamma ray burst under control for as long as we can. Whatever happens, whatever state you find yourself in, the arc device will be your safety net. Use it. Get back to us, you hear me?
Ready when you are, driver.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep all of this on me. It's fine. We're gonna keep that on. We're gonna keep a blowtorch on too. Oof. I need to stop running into things. You know what? I'm even gonna set you, yeah, and then wait. There we go. How did this happen? How did it come to this? Why do I keep running into random poles? My other headlight is fine. It's fine. Wonder if I can even get out of my car. Doesn't look like it'd be safe to get out of your car here.
Opening? Godspeed, driver.
Go on in. Oh. It was kind of like, well, they're probably just reusing assets, but that would have, I knew it.
Happy! Did it work? What's the energy output? Damn it, Alan, I'm fine. Light nearly blinded me. Can you read it?
Yeah, let me see. 500 kilojoules? Happy, what is this?
The future. I call it limb waves.
Ooh. That was her and Alan talking. I knew it. As soon as I saw the picture for the bonus episode in that thing, the episode 10 of Frequency Files, I was like, yeah, I haven't seen a bunch of TV stacked. I'm being spoiled right now. I figured it was going to be something. So, it's fair. It's fair. You probably wouldn't listen to those or watch that episode unless you had finished the game. So that's on me. But it's not like I know what I'm being spoiled on, but what is happening though? Also, based on the stuff we learned, I have to question it. I rewatched the beginning of the game. Oh, we took damage. Oh, good, we have canned food. Picked up scrap metal? Based on rewatching the beginning of the game, I can't tell if we meant to come here. Are we a breacher? Or did we just drive in here and they called us a breacher because we drove in here? Like, I don't know.
Delivery.
Alan, gosh. Is it that time already?
So, about leaving Arda. I was thinking, how about by Christmas?
Yes, maybe. I just need to solve this instability issue. I loathe to think about leaving the Olympic Peninsula like this.
There's always more to do.
I know. I'm sorry.
And I love you for it. I'm just wondering if you'll really be able to walk away from all this. It's okay if you can't.
You abandoned the world to work here beside me. Fair is fair.
Lim Tech is a world-changing discovery. Your world-changing discovery. Fairness isn't even a consideration.
We agreed to have children, and I'm not having them in this hellhole.
Good, because I'd love to have 8.
Then I hope you're ready to carry at least half of those yourself.
I love you.
I love you.
Oh. Why are we experiencing this? Like if Oppie entered here, that would make sense. But why are we? Is this all important to the? Well, I guess it is important to the creation. What does the well do? Hello? Oh, I couldn't sprint before. Now I can sprint. Oh, wait. Nope. Nothing. Ah, the floor has changed. Wait, we can eat more food.
Tobias, the movers are here. Wait, why aren't you packed?
I ain't going.
The evacuation orders.
Evacuation orders can go to hell. We leave and we never see the inside of these walls again. All the things we've been investigating, the ripple, the echoes from the swamp, they'll all fade away. I'm gonna stay and chase down these stories, wherever they take me.
Tobias,
Stay here. With me.
Ooh. Okay, so it's not just Oppie. We're seeing things relevant to the story, obviously, which is fine.
You here to quote?
I'm here to deliver the committee's decision. You have been found guilty of doctoring experimental data. This action is in clear violation of ARDA's scientific integrity. Judgment has been rendered. You may stay and work, but your clearance will be lowered to level 3.
So I'm to be a glorified flash cleaner.
Take it as a win. You could have been court-martialed instead.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have liked that much better.
What I like has no bearing on this decision. See you on Monday, Dr. Cook.
Oh, damn. The well's just...
Driver, do you read me?
Oh.
Driver, you passed through some sort of opening. We managed to hold it steady, but the energy expulsion is growing. We don't have much longer.
If you can hear this, you need to get back now.
How?
Hey, look! The gang's back together.
Tobias?
I never told you how grateful I was that you stayed behind in the zone. With me. These years, best of my life. Foraging for mushrooms, slogging through swamplands, combing through hours and hours of terrible field recordings. Not a single moment wasted. Thank you. For everything.
It was all you. You made me feel capable. That anything was possible. That I wasn't some second-rate scientist. All my happiness was thanks to you. And I'm afraid of how I'll survive without you.
I'm not. You got this. You always have. Hey, Oppie. Alan sends his regards. And he wants to know why you haven't taken his advice yet. Driver.
Huh.
Is that a gumbaroo on your dash? Oh, I'll be damned.
Is that what it's called?
Bye. Until next time.
Tobias? Tobias!
Driver, if you can hear this, we can't keep the well stable for much longer. Wherever you are, come back.
I'm working on it. So they exist in the zone. If you die, do you not? Does your spirit kind of live on in the well? Well, what is? He was clearly just talking to us. Oh my god, wait, oh. Hi, tourists. Hold on. Based on like the conversation they had about the tourism and stuff, I assume that the tourists actively like came here and became the mannequins. They were like transformed. Whoa. No, wrong button. You know what? I'm gonna remove that. That's clear ability. That drains your battery so fast. Okay, we have no map. Car's fine. Does this work here? It doesn't work here. Oh, it does. Okay, well, I'm sure the game has its own music, so maybe?
Just a little longer. Hold steady, Francis. Keep those limb bases aligned. Not even a 0.001 deviation, you get me?
Whoa!
I'm trying.
What is this random? Okay. Uh-oh. What is falling?
The anchor field is wobbling, Hoppy. Anything we can do to stabilize things on your side?
Punching it as hard as I can.
Oh no. Acid bunnies, just keep the limb shield on.
Francis, hold tight.
I can't. The phase, it's desyncing.
Oh.
Driver, punch it. Go.
I'm trying. I did not bring the right tires. We're backing up into it. Ooh, okay. Return for the well. With Tobias' thing equipped. It'd be kind of hard not to do that. Oh! God, we went flying.
You made it back, driver. All in one piece, it looks like.
And no sign of the Remnant's energy signature anywhere in that car.
You're free.
But the car's maintained its link to you. Fascinating. We'll never know how far the Remnant's obsessions wormed into your head, but you should be safe from it getting any worse. In theory.
Abby, I'm sorry. You didn't get to talk to Alan again.
We managed to pull off the near impossible. And the first thing you do is apologize?
Sorry. I mean,
Don't worry, it was Tobias's fault. He hogged the frequency all for himself yet again.
You heard him too.
I did. That means I didn't imagine that last conversation with Alan. And you know what else?
What?
That your theory was right. And Tobias called it. All that bluster, and he ended up showing us scientists a thing or two. Those moments we heard, they were all from the past. Being inside that well somehow allowed the Remnant to access those imprints and replay them. But Tobias's voice wasn't from the past, it was from somewhere else entirely.
But where? And how?
No clue. Do me a favor. Once you figure it out, don't bother telling me.
You're just gonna leave it at that?
I'm leaving the zone.
I'm sorry, what?
Alan came to tell me goodbye, and that I was forgiven 37 years ago. I didn't listen. So now, finally, I'm going to take his advice. I should have left the zone a long time ago.
But if we solve this, maybe there's a way to speak to him again.
I heard what I needed to hear. It only took me 37 years to listen. Anyway, all that sounds like a young scientist game. It's not for me anymore. Francis, you decide what to do from here. You can carry the torch and continue the research, or get out of this cursed place and find your own way. It's your decision. And driver, you're free now. You can do what you want from here. But if you'll allow an old woman one last hope, stay here with Francis. There's so many more stories for the zone to tell.
But
I mean, both of you are young enough to listen. My ears are bad. And I refuse to hear them. I've removed all access restrictions to my systems, Francis. The helm is yours.
Wait, I I don't know if I can do this alone.
You're not alone. You've got clear eyes, ears open to the impossible, and the driver. Dr. Cook. Driver. It's been a pleasure. This is Dr. Ophelia Turner. Signing off.
Oppie? Oppie! Really? Well, driver, if you don't mind sticking around with me, Oppie was right. There's still so much of the zone that we still don't know about. But with your help, we can tell those stories. I'm no Oppie, but I'll do the best I can. You're no longer bound to the car, but it's stayed with you and will continue to protect you as you travel the zone. Go on then. As long as you're willing to drive, I'm along for the ride.
Huh. Oh, you're just gonna overlay I was like, shouldn't we, like, have a moment where we actually drive out? But no, we don't. Well, it seems like we have the decision now. We're not, like, tied to the car, so we could leave whenever we want, or we could keep that going. Interesting. I like that Oppie was just like, nope. Turns out I wasn't crazy. Alan did come to visit me. That means that I could have left at all this time if she knew for sure, but she didn't know. That's why she stayed. So it's we this whole game was basically just getting Oppie closure, which is great. But it's kind of a bit anticlimactic. It was a very cool drive there at the end, although my tires just kept skidding out and it's fine. It's fine. Let's see if I know any. These are all probably not famous VAs. Not that I think they'd sound bad, which is why they wouldn't be. It's just that this is a indie game, so usually they use in-house. I didn't recognize a single name. Very surprised that it was so just quick done. Honestly, if I would have just started the episode and then like skipped all the zones and went straight to the well, that probably, what was that, like 15 minutes or so? I think most of my interest laid in the Chiaki broadcasts. You don't even play a second song? Okay. This song is the main menu theme. I'm probably I use it for my outro too, but this is a very good song. It's just very comfortable to listen to for some reason, and I think it's probably the most memorable thing about this as far as the music goes, is this song. It's very quiet right now, and I'm shouting over it, but all right, well, it was a nice little indie game. I just feel like I could have used a little more closure on some things. Then again, we didn't really have a character themselves. It was mostly about Oppie and then seeing the development between her and Francis now being in charge after she left. He got his own closure with Tobias, which even with the way Oppie said it was just like, I don't know how he was talking to us, but if you figure it out, don't tell me. so they kind of just wrote that off, like, who knows, you heard him in the well, just accept it. That's fine, I will accept it. I'm not here to critique and analyze every little thing. I would have liked to know what the well was actually about. He said Alan's there, so clearly, well, they're not at the well, but wherever they were talking from, which means the well could have some sort of connection with the afterlife, maybe, or they're in like a state of where they've died, but there's also, since like an anomaly, there's a part of them that's still alive, existing somewhere that we were able to talk to. I don't know. All right, well, we're going to listen to the last Chiaki thing, and then I'm definitely going to do the review very quickly at the end, and then we're going to move on. Well, move on as in close this game out, and I have no idea what I'm playing after this as far as the weekend slot. I've been waiting for To the Moon for so long. That was planned in this slot for... It's been planned for a long time, but it's still not even announced, so I have no idea. Oh yeah. Are we... No, not that. Oh. I could have a platinum right now. If I could just keep a bunny on my car. Oh, that was abrupt. Francis, how do I get out? I want to get out. He's not going to tell me. I mean, yeah, I guess you'd want to be able to just continue. Wait, I didn't even look at that. What did it say? Possum controversy? Okay. Half of the ones that I've been reading every time I come here were not even in English, so I think it's just picking up random... The fax machine picks up random radio waves from everywhere. Just everywhere. Okay, well, we've read everything we need to do. We need to listen to everything but one. We're going to do that quick, and then... Yeah. Okay, let's watch this last part, and then... I'll feel comfortable ending.
You're listening to Frequency File. I'm Chiaki Saruhashi, and I signed off last episode. The story was done. Or so I thought.
Oh, that's where you're gonna leave it?
Just as I wrapped up the season, I was surprised by a call. Think of this as an after-credits scene, an unbearable cliffhanger of events that I'm still reeling from.
Chiaki, you have a call on line 8.
I'm heading out for the night. Can you take a message?
You're going to want to take this one. In fact, I'm routing it to Studio A.
It's
Why don't you take
Oppie.
it there?
Okay. Hello, this is Chiaki.
I've heard you've been on my trail, sniffing around where you don't belong.
Oppie? I mean, Dr. Turner?
The one and only.
Wow. This is such an honor. I'm so glad you called. I have so many questions.
You've talked enough. It's my turn. Now, there's a few things you got wrong.
Dr. Turner proceeded to ignore my questions completely. She spoke at length, revealing much and little at the same time. But I am out of time, so all I can say is, look forward to Frequency File, Season 2.
Oh, that's where they leave it? That's where they leave it. Interesting. It is pretty interesting. I'm very glad that I stopped where I did. I just had this really strange feeling when I was staring at it and it said bonus that I was like, wait. I can't go any farther. And thank God, because if I would have heard Oppie, I would have been like, oh, well, clearly something happened. She got out and called her, but that was like the only thing that I just couldn't be spoiled on. So good thing I stopped at that point. Season 2, though, I doubt that this game would have a sequel, but I think it's just... I would have been interested to hear Chiaki's thoughts on what Oppie had to say. Of course, Oppie didn't let her get a word in, though. Okay, I'm going to start review now, because I'm definitely overthinking right now. My brain just needs to get the words out about the game itself. So first, I remember this is just my normal opinion. It's fine. I did enjoy the game overall. I would say story. There were a lot of like unexplained points in this. It wasn't super effective, but it got the point across in the end. Not a very satisfying conclusion, that's for sure. The world building was very good, though. Presentation was kind of at a minimum, basically because they used only the radio to deliver the story. That was their main form of delivering the story, meaning like as a presentation that is like the cheapest way you can do it, but still I'd say overall this is probably a 6.5 or 7, so 6.75 as far as story goes when I consider like the indie category for like an exploration game like this. These numbers are going up against games in the similar category. Like I'd consider Subnautica somewhat in this category, which is very interesting in its way of exploring things. Like so I have to compare it to that, and Outer Wilds, which is I don't even want to try to compare Outer Wilds to this as far as story goes. Outer Wilds is it's an 11 out of 10 for me, so it's kind of hard to beat. But anything above 5, like 5 is my it's worth playing. It's worth playing. Anything below 5, I didn't enjoy it then. But a 10 blows my mind, and yeah. So 6.75 makes sense for this one. Sound, I definitely enjoyed. Oh, actually, I would like to start out with saying probably a 9 in general for sound. The music was very repetitive in the car as far as the radio goes, but the songs they added, like their actual like songs for the game, like the one playing in the menu, the one at the end, the one when you do like certain drive events, like, you know, when you had to go around getting all the circuits lit up. There are only very few of them, but they were all very good. And the sound effects of all the anomalies was amazing. And the ambience was very creepy. Like, it really fit well. So, like, sound effects overall were just, like, it really made me feel on edge in there. Yeah, that's about all I really need to say about that. Voice acting is probably the only reason it's not a 10, because you could tell they were good. They weren't great, but it certainly still made me feel like I was in the game, which is the entire point. But it didn't feel like the emotions were being conveyed very well for most characters. Frances was probably the best as far as the emotions go. Oppie, obviously she wouldn't show emotion. Like, she's an old lady who's been through hell, so the way she's talking it actually perfectly fits her. But I'd say Tobias was, well, he kind of fits his character too. I don't know. I think they actually chose good voices for that, whatever they did, you know. But it wasn't like over the top good, you know. So art, this game has very, very good graphics considering how little they have to work with. The only thing I don't like is the stuttering, which became a lot more apparent when I was playing on my own. Yeah. Half of the time I was grinding, like, it got really, really choppy. One point, the game full on stopped, and then it caught up later, and my car was ahead of me, like just a mile ahead of me. An abductor took it, but there was no abductor around when the game froze. So, like, something about like the effects, the fog, the lighting caused some overload nonsense, and I don't think it's optimized quite well for the graphics itself. It's, I don't know. But overall, I love the menus, the menu style. The only thing I didn't like is the fact that the menu is broken. So half the, like 90% of the game I just couldn't access, half the menus. I would say this is probably 6 based on the awkwardness of the stuttering that just hurts your eyes a little bit with the stuff. The menus being very, very buggy sometimes. There were no actual like character models or anything. In the anomalies themselves, there was a lot of repetition. Like there was a bunny, an abductor type, which had a slight model variation. There was something underground, like the can opener slash... I forgot the name of it. There was a radiant version. The thing that like just looks like a mole, I guess. And then mannequins. So like there wasn't too much variety in that. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say about a 6. Okay, gameplay. For an exploration game, this had a lot of I would call it tediousness. With having to refuel and then repair your car and stuff, but that was actually kind of enjoyable for me. It really was. And the collecting and stuff was definitely enjoyable. There was very little variety in what you collected, though. Like, you broke down things, and it was always going to be the same. Like, okay, just get out, look at this house. This house might have a crate. It might have a TV. It might have a lab, computer. But I don't know. Overall, it was just like the same few things, and there were never any like secret notes or anything important that you could find in any of the houses. Those were always in pneumatic tubes or in car trunks and stuff. So it's like, I don't know. Some of that got a little tedious. Overall, I really liked the diversity in like the car attachments, the car customization, the quirks. The quirks were very interesting. And the upgrading system and stuff for it was very, very fun to just get a handle on. And I'd say it was decently difficult sometimes to gather in certain zones, depending on like even going to pick up some of the anchor energy. Like, you'd run back to your car and it'd be flying through the air, and you'd have to get in and turn on the limb shield before it landed, or you lost the tire. Like, I don't know. It was fun. It was surprisingly fun. I don't know why. Although keeping a bunny on your hood is apparently very, very difficult. God damn it. I wanted to show the platinum when I got it here, but no, I can't, because I couldn't get that bunny. So overall, I'm gonna say this is probably 7.75. I want to say 8, but it wasn't like extraordinary, for an exploration game. The lack of variety makes me think it's worth playing for the gameplay, but you'll get bored quickly. More quickly than me, probably. All right. Rating overall. I'd have to say this is pitted against quite a few exploration games that I absolutely adore. Yeah, I'd say a 7.5 overall. Like, this was a good experience, but it was not Subnautica or Outer Wilds, in my opinion. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It just if they added a little more, I'd be happy. A little more variety, a little more, I don't know, a little more to the ending. Give you a little more to get attached to the character. It was actually quite a fast game too. It wasn't nearly as long as I thought it was going to be. Because I did a lot of like optional looking around and driving through optional routes. But overall, you could probably just go to the goal, come back, go to the next goal, come back, and like skip all the side stuff, and you might be okay. Didn't really utilize anything special to get me through to the end, you know? But yeah, I definitely had fun. I'm probably going to have to end this one without actually... I really wanted to read the rest of the things, but that would require so much time to go around and, you know, find all the notes and stuff and scan all the anomalies. I enjoyed what I read, definitely, but I don't really feel a need to like go learn about every little thing in this game. I'm definitely going to do it on my own while I try to get that bunny. But for now, this slot is officially on break until I figure out what game to play. If you have a game to suggest for a weekend game that you think I'd be interested in, let me know. Wherever, in this video, in one of my posts, in a different video, I'll definitely check and consider whether the game is a good fit for me and whether I want to play it on the channel. But yeah, at the moment, it's empty. So that's it for this, though. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you like it, and I will see you in another game.